So Factorio is known as one of the best automation games of all time. But what if you wanted something else? Something a little different? Maybe you wanted to harness elemental powers and magic. Maybe you wanted some martial arts on the side. Maybe terraforming a planet is more your style. Or I don't know, maybe you just want to chainsaw alien creatures in the face. So in today's video, I'll be sharing with you 18 great games to scratch that Factorio automation itch. Sure, they might not be exact one-to-one copies, that's almost impossible, but this is a collection of automation games and games with automation elements, both old and new, some for beginners and some for factory building veterans. And if you see something that you like, maybe you hit that like button or maybe subscribe to find more games to get lost in. But on with the video. In no particular order, we'll start the list with Oddsparks, an automation adventure. This game takes a more light-hearted approach to the genre, making it great for beginners or if you're just sick of staring at conveyor belts all day. You see, you have these adorable little critters called Sparks who get to do all the work for you. You don't even need to pay them, they just love carrying stuff, gathering resources, killing things or operating machinery. They're amazing. You'll be building factories needed to build goods in order to level up, unlocking more items, but you also need to explore. You'll need to go out into the world, finding new sparks, shrines, and then some dangerous creatures. Along the way, you'll have quests to complete, helping you grow your little village. It plays a bit like a relaxed version of Factorio combined with Pikmin, leaning more into the laid-back side of things, so it doesn't get too intense. However, it still has logic gateways like switches and sensors, so veterans who want something new might have some fun from it, and you can still make some pretty big and interesting factories. Plus, it's got co-op. Also, recently it came out of early access a little while back, so if you want something fresh and cozy to add to your automation collection, Oddsparks might just be for you. Coming up next on the list is the Riftbreaker, a game that just makes you feel so badass all the time, even if you're running backwards. Hardcore Factorio players will say that it's completely different, but to me this action RTS feels more like Factorio if you don't have the time. It's like Factorio meets Supreme Commander. There's automation, sure, but it never gets very deep, as it focuses on the intense action in your face all the time. You play as Captain Ashley Nowak, a soldier-scientist hybrid piloting a massive mech suit that doubles as both a construction tool and a walking tank. In the game, you'll build a base, harvest resources, and set up massive automated production chains, all while surviving endless waves of hostile alien creatures that don't really appreciate you terraforming their planet. So yeah, it is a survival-based builder, and yes, those enemies, they are relentless. Luckily, you have all types of weapons, from flamethrowers to miniguns, and of course, this chainsaw that just never stops being so cool. It's such an intense game, and what's cool now is that there's co-op too, so your friend who's way better than you can do all the heavy lifting, and you can just run around like a headless chicken. So yes, I highly recommend the Riftbreaker. Yes, it's a little bit different, it's a little light on the automation, but for those wanting constant action all the time, this one is very fun to play. Coming up next on the list is Little Rocket Lab, for people wanting some Stardew Valley vibes, but with some more automation. And this game is just that. If you're going into this game thinking it's a cozy Factorio type, well, you might be disappointed. However, if you go into it thinking it's a cozy game, but with factory building elements, you're going to have tons of fun with it. It came out recently, and let me tell you, it's pretty cool. In the game, you play as Morgan, trying to help out your auntie, as well as trying to build this giant rocket next door in a very wholesome city. This is an isometric automation game that you control Mo, and use her to build conveyor belts, assemblers, and all these other things around the city. And that's one of the cool parts, as when I opened up the map, I was like, okay, so this is like an open world factory builder. Like if you want to unlock upgrades at the university, well, you have to set up shop next to it. I'd also say it's definitely designed for beginners to factory builders, so veterans might want to look elsewhere. But there are tons of areas to explore and crazy contraptions to build, plus you can throw a tennis ball for your doggo. So if you enjoyed the cozy vibes of Stardew Valley but wanted some conveyor belts to mess with, well then Little Rocket Lab might just be for you. Then another game that came out this year, it's Outworld Station, sticking to the space theme but just a little bit different. In this space factory sim, you play as Station Commander, and your job is to build out this industrial factory from scratch. Again, you'll be mining asteroids, breaking stuff down into raw materials, and then feeding it into various smelters and modules. But you gotta link it all together, your power, your logistics, your defense, kind of like pipes in your plumbing system that hopefully doesn't have a leak like mine does. And you can't just sit back and relax. You gotta fly your drone or your scout ship around in space, grabbing alien artifacts, fighting other drones, and trying to expand across planets. Plus, it's got co-op, perfect if you have friends who are into this kind of stuff. Sure, it's still in early access, but the devs are active, and you're still going to enjoy watching your systems come together. And it's cool having some combat in your automation, you know how it is. If you've played the popular titles in automation and want something else to scratch that itch, Outworld Station might just be for you. Then up next, another game that came out this year, it's MoteMancer, for when magic meets automation. So this game is like a fantasy factory game, so forget your asteroids or your rocks or whatever, now you have various elements and magical energy. For example, the very basics, you build a grindstone, you'll feed water into it, and then you can get salt. Then you'll use that plus other inputs and it gets fed into bigger systems, and so on. That stuff that you get from it can then be used for your upgrade tree, and you do this across 6 elemental planes. The story is kind of like you need to stop the world from ending because, yeah, you always need to do that. You're an alchemist, and you've got all this cool magic on your side. It's a bit like Harry Potter Factorio. I mean, you can even do some cool magic like moving structures, flying around, maybe even controlling the sun. And you also might notice that it is hex-based, which changes up the gameplay just a little bit. Yeah, it might be a little too early in the early access phase for some. I mean, like there's no map and it might be a bit too limited for automation enthusiasts, but still, there's a lot of things that it gets right. I played it during my coverage of the Steam Next Fest early in the year, and I really enjoyed it. And it's great to see the dev team have made tons of progress since then. The game shows a lot of potential, so if you want your automation with a heavy dose of fantasy and magic thrown in, well, MoteMancer is definitely one to check out. Up next on the list, we've got Plan B Terraform, which also recently came out of early access, so I thought it deserved a second chance. You start off with basically a barren rock, but little by little you're mining resources, setting up automated chains of trucks, trains and drones, and watching your outposts turn into proper cities. As you build, you're literally warming the planet, so rivers start flowing, forests pop up, and even rainfall patterns start to shift. It's like watching a time-lapse of life returning to a dead world. It's a bit like Terra Null if you've ever played that before, and even though it looks like a city builder, it's way more of a transport tycoon meets Satisfactory type of game. If you're looking for a gameplay loop that is very chilled out, then this might be for you. Some might be put off by its simplicity, so automation veterans might get annoyed with some of the elements. But overall, it's still engaging to play and very easy on the eye too. So maybe go check out Plan B Terraform if that sounds like your kind of game. Coming up next on the list, we have RAILGRADE, which looks like a chilled out train sim, but it's a lot more complicated than that. This game gets mentioned a few times in the comments section, which I really appreciate. It's cool hearing games I never know about, so if you see a game I forgot, maybe drop it in the link below and I'll check it out later. Anyways, RAILGRADE has you in this rundown off-world colony, and now it's your job to rebuild its industrial backbone with lots and lots of rails. You'll build rail lines and then connect stuff together like mines and factories, trying to make it all as efficient as possible. Even your trains can be upgraded and optimized as well. But just take note that the main game isn't some kind of open world sandbox where you can do whatever you want. It's very much a puzzle game. It's structured like you have levels where you need to hit a certain quota within a fixed time, so I wouldn't really put this into the relaxed category. However, one of their previous updates did actually come with a sandbox mode, allowing for some sweet freeform gameplay for those that want that. And this is a game where once you get everything connected and you're listening to the sweet cyberpunk-like music in the background, well, it's very satisfying. Like I said, it's not a train driving sim, but if you want a puzzle game where trains run the show, RAILGRADE is definitely worth checking out. Then up next on the list is AutoForge, another game that doesn't get a lot of spotlight. This side-scrolling 2D pixelated gem is an automation sandbox or factory building type of game. It's a bit like Factorio meets Terraria, if you know what I mean. You play as Otto, a magical golem trying your best to rebuild a world using machines and mana, and doing a little exploration and base defense while you're at it. You start out small, then slowly watch your factory go off in all directions, linking automation and modules together like some kind of crazy spider's web. Sure, the tutorial can be a bit better, and moving around can be a bit tedious, but the automation is solid, and the art style and the overall vibe of the game is very well done. And yes, it is still in early access, but the dev team is quite active, and it's cool seeing games doing something a little different. So if you're a fan of the 2D pixelated look and enjoy your automation games, well, AutoForge might just be worth checking out. Next up on the list is Autonauts. This is something a little more cozy that's about teaching a squad of cheerful little robots to do the hard work for you, whether it's farming, building, or even cooking dinner. You'll start out on a quiet planet with nothing but basic tools, but before long you'll be programming bots with a simple visual coding system that lets you automate every step of your growing colony. From chopping trees to crafting gear to organizing supply chains and looking after those needy colonists, there's always something to do. As you progress, your bots will level up too, and they'll start picking up more complex behaviors, like working faster, tackling bigger jobs like fishing, tailoring some clothes, or even constructing entire neighborhoods. I'd say if you want to learn basic programming and logic, or if you want to teach someone younger than you the same stuff, then this is a great game for that. It's wrapped up in a colorful, low-poly style that feels playful, but beneath the cuteness is still a serious deep automation sandbox. So if you want factory building with a little bit of charm and a lot of clever logic, Autonauts is definitely worth checking out. Then up next on the list is Rivertown Factory, where farming sim meets automation meets martial arts. In this game, which feels like a mix of Stardew Valley mixed with something like Factorio, you're setting up shop in a cozy little riverside town, slowly automating your way from humble beginnings to a thriving industrial hub, and boy does the automation go deep. Basically, you're living in this ancient world filled with martial arts, but with the unfair advantage of technology. So you'll gather, mine, and slowly tech up your workshop from simple wood setups all the way to these damn satellites. And yeah, that includes dropping cannon turrets and even piloting a mech to defend your town from these waves of beasts. Ah, so peaceful. It is mostly automation, but it does come with farming sim elements, RPG elements, and even some badass, fast-paced combat elements thrown in for good measure. And I should add that the English translation is pretty decent in case you're wondering. There's also these romance and social elements too, though they take more of a back seat, kind of like a Stardew Light, where the villagers don't have the deepest of personalities. The gameplay is smooth, like the controls are very seamless in that. Sure, it can feel a bit grindy at times, but honestly, if you're looking for an automation game that throws in some unique elements that you don't often see, maybe Rivertown Factory might just be for you. Then up next on the list is Hydroneer, a classic title that lets you build your own mining empire from the ground up. This is a sandbox mining sim where you dig for gold and other resources and gradually evolve from hand tools to sprawling hydro-powered automation setups. In the game, you'll design complex pipe systems, pressure-regulated machines, and modular factories that craft everything from jewelry to heavy equipment. The deeper you dig, the better the loot, and you'll need clever layouts and efficient automation in order to keep your operation running smoothly. You can build your base however you like, automate resource processing, and then expand into new plots of land as your empire grows. But if you love games where building and automating your way to riches is half the fun, well, Hydroneer might just be your next jam. Next up on the list is Factory Town, which is perfect if you're looking for a cozy factory builder where automation meets cozy village vibes. Your goal is to build a thriving settlement in the wilderness by producing and delivering goods like food, tools, and magic-infused artifacts. As your town grows, you'll shift from manual labor to fully automated systems using conveyor belts, gravity chutes, trains, pipes, and even airships. It's even got terraforming so that you can sculpt out the factory of your dreams. You'll unlock new technology, boost production with magical upgrades, and then use logic gates and filters to route items exactly where they need to be. There are no enemies or stress though, it's just a satisfying loop of building, optimizing, and then expanding. So if you like relaxing strategy games focused on logistics, resource chains, and solving puzzles here and there, then Factory Town might just be a game to check out. Alrighty, now we're starting to get into the big names of automation. Sitting at an overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam, Mindustry is the factory management game that blends automation with absolute chaos. See, this is a factory builder at heart, but it's got a lot of tower defense and real-time strategy vibes baked in. You'll set up production lines that crank out ammo, materials, and units, as you need to defend your base from increasingly brutal enemy wave attacks. But where it really shines is in the automation. Once your supply chains are up and humming, your base will practically run itself, freeing you up to plan your next expansion or launch a full-on mech assault in these epic RTS battles. So whether you're capturing territory or holding the line, there's always something to keep you engaged. Plus you can play it with co-op with friends or play it on mobile. Or gosh, if you don't have enough money for it, you can even play the open source version of it. So if you like building, defending, and watching your machines do all the heavy lifting, maybe give Mindustry a shot today. Now these games in my top 5 are ones I mention in almost every automation video, but to me they're just too good to leave out. So next on the list is Shapez 2. One of the best Zen-like factory builders not to be missed. Basically, you're processing abstract geometric shapes by cutting, rotating, painting, stacking, and recombining them to hit your goals. But once you start, good luck stopping. It's one of those just one more upgrade loops that eats entire evenings or weekends. I mean, you can just ask in the comment section below. You'll be expanding across asteroids, unlocking multi-level buildings, connecting everything with space trains, and then designing modular blueprints to keep the whole machine running. With a massive tech tree, slick blueprint system, and the tools that let you rebuild messy built spaghetti in seconds, Shapez 2 nails that feeling of creative freedom and endless scaling. So if you want pure, uninterrupted automation joy, Shapez 2 is definitely a game you need to check out. Up next is Foundry, another entry in the orange-themed factory builder universe, where you're basically building a robot empire as far as the eye can see. You land on an uncharted voxel planet, starting from scratch where you need to mine resources and slowly automate your way up to full industrial domination of the galaxy. What makes it stand out though is the freedom to build literally anywhere thanks to that terraforming, which some games coming up next don't even have. From underground labyrinths to towering mega factories, or maybe you just want the whole thing to be smack bang in the middle of a jungle. You've got conveyor belts, pipes, production lines, and a chunky research tree that'll keep you busy for hours on end. Plus, everything's customizable, from machine colors to power setups. And yes, it's got co-op, so if you want to drag your friends along into the chaos, so if you're into automation without limits, Foundry is one of those games that will keep you building non-stop and worth checking out. Then coming up next is obviously Satisfactory, where it's one of those titles where I'm pretty sure most people watching currently own this, but for those that are unfamiliar, pause this video, buy it, and then come back. In the game, you'll crash land on a mysterious alien planet. You're hired by this company called Fixit Incorporated, and your job is to strip the planet bare and turn it into a monument of pure industrial joy. You'll do this all in first person, starting with the basic mineral extractors, conveyor belts that are just all over the place, and then eventually getting involved with fluid dynamics and realize you haven't slept in 2 days. It starts simple, but soon enough you've got a sprawling labyrinth that looks like a nightmare, but somehow it just works, sort of. And once the automation flow kicks in, good luck tearing yourself away from optimizing every little detail. It just gets really intense and only gets better with every update. I haven't played it in ages, so sometimes I'll just watch the update videos with my jaw open. And also, it's got co-op, so you and your friends can argue who built the rows of spaghetti conveyor belts, which in my case would be me. Satisfactory is frustrating, it's brilliant, it's puzzling, it's challenging, and whatever other adjectives can be used to describe a game as awesome as this. So if you haven't played it by now, Satisfactory is definitely one of those games you need in your life. Then coming in at number 2 is Captain of Industry, which gets this spot as almost everyone knows Satisfactory, and I thought, hey, let me shed some light on this absolute banger. In the game, you start out with just a small crew on an abandoned island, scraping together food and some raw materials, so yeah, it does have some survival mechanics. But give it some time and then suddenly you're running these massive factories, shipping cargo across the seas, and even launching rockets into space like you're some kind of tech billionaire. At its core, it's all about building and automating everything you touch. You'll be digging mountains down to rubble, running self-sufficient farms, refining oil, and piecing together high-tech production lines until the whole island hums like my laptop while it's rendering this video. There's always so much to do in this game, whether you want smoother transport or you're just fending off some pirates on the trade routes. Yeah, it just keeps pulling you in. It's so addictive, and the updates have been amazing. And so if you're after a survival game that throws you into a massive, incredible factory sim, Captain of Industry is the one that you don't want to miss. And then finally, last but not least, we've got Dyson Sphere Program. Honestly, I don't think I've been so hooked on a game before. This is one of those titles that I had to uninstall just to remember what the sun looks like. This is factory building on a galactic scale, and that's not an exaggeration. You're in control of this bumblebee-like robot as you buzz around this planet, setting up little automation tools, getting everything set up. And honestly, I just love this little bro. He just flies around, he's amazing. But eventually you'll need to automate your buildings to get resources to build, well, guess what? You'll need to build a Dyson sphere around the sun. No big deal. Oh, but Marco, it is a big deal. You see, the automation comes from endless, massive production lines, factories just chilling on other planets, and you need to send these resources back and forth. It's insane. It never ends, there's always something to do, and one of the updates even introduced combat, which you can turn off or leave it on if you really want a challenge. Also, a heads up is that it's very well optimized. I think they actually rebuilt all the code so that it runs a lot better now, so people that were having issues, maybe try it again. My only wish is that it had built-in multiplayer, and I didn't have to do it using Hamachi, but still, if you want a game that will swallow entire weekends without warning, Dyson Sphere Program is a masterpiece not to be missed. So that wraps up my video. If you're still watching and you didn't find anything you like, I don't know, maybe play Factorio again or learn C++. But if you did enjoy my video, please leave a like or maybe subscribe to find more games to get lost in. But other than that, it's Marco here from Easily Distracted Games, and as always, don't stop gaming.